You mentioned Beryl earlier this year. That was the earliest Category 4 and Category 5 hurricane we've ever had. And one reason for that was because the water that it passed over on its way to the United States was at record highs. The Hurricane Helene, which we are still recovering from as we speak, just a couple of weeks ago or less, gathered strength very quickly because of hot water in the Gulf of Mexico. This new Hurricane Milton has gone from a tropical storm to a Category 5 beast in just a little bit more than one day. And that sort of thing is basically almost unprecedented. I think there have been maybe two other hurricanes that have intensified that rapidly. And all of that is because it is passing over just extremely superheated water in the Gulf of Mexico, 80 degrees down to like 300 or 400 feet, I've seen by one estimate.
Well, you know, and then I think about a column and a story you put out last week, and you got into this whole idea of like, we used to kind of understand, right, who was going to be impacted the most by climate change. And these storms that are happening are not necessarily following the regular paths or the paths we assume, right? It's like now, I think that it says that the front lines of global warming are at everyone's door, right? I mean, they're moving inside. Everybody is being impacted by climate change and the severity of these storms and the unusual paths of these storms.
Yeah, I mean, I compared it to Hurricane Hugo, which happened in 1989, a good bit before the planet really started heating up. And I remember that hurricane went through Charleston, went up and went all the way to Ohio, still as a tropical storm. So it's not unprecedented for storms to plow their way through over land for long periods of time. The thing about Helene was it had so much energy and that spread so wide that it helped cause some rainstorms before it hit in the Appalachians. And so by the time it hit, it also was so superheated, so supercharged, so full of water, because the laws of thermodynamics tell us that hotter air holds more water. All of this stuff came together to dump even more water on the Appalachians that were already soaked with water and cause this flooding that we haven't seen in at least 100 years there. So these things are not unprecedented, but they are behaving in ways. The rapid intensification is a thing that just doesn't usually happen that often, not impossible before climate change, but now it's happening seemingly almost all the time. And the amount of water it's dumping is amounts we haven't seen before.
I had a conversation with someone over the weekend, Mark, who's trying to sell a property in Florida. And one of the reasons he's trying to do that is because the property floods frequently. He cannot find somebody to buy the property. I'm wondering if look, this is anecdotal, but I'm wondering if we're finally starting to see the economic effects of this play out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's an anecdote, but it jives with what I've heard. Daryl Fairweather, the chief economist for Redfin, told me before Helene that she was seeing in high flooding areas people trying to sell their houses. Home prices in Florida were finally starting to come down in these high-risk places, even in some parts of Miami. Partly because insurance costs were going through the roof, and also because they're just sick of being flooded. I mean, you look at what might happen with Milton now. People in say the Fort Myers area, one of the fastest growing places in the country for years before the hurricane that hit 2 years ago, which flooded that area, wiped it out. After it went through, you had bargain hunters going in to buy up land to build new houses there because it was going to be cheap. Now they've got Helene came through, drove a big storm surge into the Tampa Bay area and up into the Fort Myers area. And then you've got Milton coming along to be like the 1, 2, 3 punch. It's just happening with increasing frequency. Climate change doesn't cause more storms, but it causes them to be more destructive. And a lot of these people are starting to realize that.